Hello everyone, this is Ranzu. I'm going to do my paper presentation. My chosen paper topic is an evaluation method for requirements engineering approaches in distributed software development projects. It's written by Michael Jesus, Tobias Hildenbrand, Franz Rosloff, and of course a presentation by me. This paper is going to talk about impractical evaluation method for the requirements engineering. So when the demands of cost efficient of software product becoming stronger, so the distribution of software engineering is becoming more common, which means the company trying to reduce the cost of software development. So they give some their work to the overseas or overshores or another country's work team, which means they have a lower salary or lower development costs, and so it can reduce the total cost of the whole software development process. So, and we all know the requirement engineering is the most serious phases. So it must be required the designated method and some tools to support the distributed teams, because geologically the team is separated in distributed in all over the world, which means it's one team maybe in North America, another team maybe in Europe, or maybe in Asia, in China, in India somewhere. So this paper is representing a concept for an impractical evaluation for the requirement engineering method in the DSD, which means the distribution of software development settings, both regarding to the requirement engineering process efficiency and effectiveness. So the problem is the most requirement engineering methods are designed for the co-located situation, since the software engineering projects are geographically distributed, which means the people most of the time they have to sitting together to do some requirement engineering with the stakeholder and even with the customer and some people relevant to the project. So they have most time is have to face, and furthermore, many paper on the new software engineering methods do not plainly clarify their goals, lack of research transparency or efficient evaluation of proposed idea. So, which means when people want to develop some new software development method, they are lack of they are not very clearly to tell the people how to solve the requirement engineering problem in the DSD environment, and especially in another aspect, the typical empirical evaluation approaches in software engineering are deficient and ignored if compared to other research fields, which means we don't have very efficient evaluation method to evaluate the new software development method, if it is sufficient, it is useful, and is designated for the specific project. So the paper outlined the characteristic of the distributed of the software engineering and of the distributed of the requirement engineering. So in distributed software development environment, high degree of collaboration among different stakeholders is typically required. The requirement engineering is often considered as the most important phase during such kind of a project, especially in the DSD. So the requirement process include several sub-process of requirement, like requirements elicitation, analysis, requirement specification and validation, and the requirement management. So how to people efficiently talk to each other and gathering the requirement and make sure the requirement consistency through the project process, and how to manage the requirement and trace if the requirement is changed, how to make sure the requirement will be changing in every process, and represented in the final product is a problem. So the author, they arise some hypotheses, so first one, if a specific requirement method with its tools can improve the effectiveness of the distributed requirement engineering process for quality of the SRS, of course, the software requirement specification. And another is the quality, if this requirement engineering method can improve the quality of traceability network. And if this new requirement engineering method can improve the output effort ratio, which means they need a specific evaluation method to test or to evaluate the new requirement engineering method if it is usefulness, is effectiveness. So currently, when a new software engineering method was applied to the requirement engineering or other phases in the software development, the people usually adopt the new method without any evidence to prove of their effectiveness and usefulness. So for evaluations quality criteria, especially there is no criteria or guideline tell people how to do we do the evaluation, and that's the most critical part. The evaluation must be objective and keep away from the intentional and the unintentional manipulations by the researchers. So this paper are going to design some criteria and make some framework and some guideline for the evaluation method, to tell people how do we, before we adopt any new method introduced to our project. So how do we can evaluate how to make the cost efficiency. So the choosing in the paper, the two evaluation methods are mentioned in their work. So one is the observational and another one is the controlled method. But in this paper, they proposed a student-based replicated experiment with some additional trials of observational evaluations, and they choosing the practical student project to testing their evaluation method because they think this kind of project are more suitable for the software engineering testing due to their more higher commitment to the given task. So to design the experiment, they choosing set up an environment in a large-scale university courses in the software engineering department, of course, with at least 50 or more subjects in this course. So all the students are being grouped into like a DSD settings. So depending on their skills and make each team with a homogeneous distribution of skills based on each one in the team, and of course their skills, and they have to using the CSDP tools, which means the collaborative software development platform, to help them to help each team and collaborate together to finish the project. And of course, a sample SRS software requirement specification is ready for the student to encompass all the mandatory and optional requirements possible in the project. During the whole software engineering course, all the students have to hand in the weekly reports to state their process and the result. So in the data collection phases, so they have to collect they have to decide which kind of data they have to collect from the experiment to evaluate if this evaluation method is useful, is correct. So first of all, for the quality of the specification, first one is correctness, and of course unambiguousness, completeness and consistency, prioritizations and stability, ranking, verifiabilities, modifiabilities, and for the quality of traceability network, they separate this traceability into pre-SRS traceability and the post-SRS traceability. And in detail, they separate the more specific aspect like specification traceability, pre-specification traceability, and the post-specification traceability, and the traceability visualization and analysis. So, which means they using this kind of data criteria to evaluate to evaluate their experiment if they have produced the right to evaluate their results and the data they collected. So in conclusion, they using an evaluation method that combines quantitative measures from replicated experiment with some complementary qualitative observation method. So they don't hire the professionals SE team because that is cost very much. So they provide a student-based experiment to improve their prove their evaluation method for the requirement engineering. And this concept is designed to measure the effectiveness of capturing the trees from and to the requirement. So basically, this method, they apply the new criteria and the guideline for the people who want to employ the new requirement engineering into their project, and they use these criteria to evaluate if this new method is useful, if it is, or it is effectiveness. So this is my paper presentation.